Sometimes I read sex trans romances and I'm like, you guys should have never got back together. And I did actually cry with this book. I don't cry at fantasy romances. Why would you invite your ex on a family vacation? Okay, why? Hi guys, welcome to the channel, hope you're doing well. So for today's video, I've got my April reading wrap up. I'm actually filming this a day early because it is the 29th of April today. I don't think I've ever posted a reading wrap up early before. Like, genuinely, this might actually go up at the beginning of April, which I don't think I've ever done in my life. And I don't think I've posted a reading wrap up in like a year. My last reading wrap up might have actually been my April reading wrap up from last year, so I haven't filmed one in a very, very long time. But April has been a really successful reading month for me because one, it's the most books I've read in a month in a really long time, and two, I feel like I've found my new favourite book of the year as well. So it's been quite successful. I have had a few like reads as well, so I thought I'd sit down, go through the 10 books that I read this month. It will actually be 11 by the time the month has ended because I'm reading a book right now that I definitely feel like I can finish by the end of today. So we have 10 books here. Well, actually, some of them are actually on my Kindle, so it's actually not 10, but I've got quite a lot of books to go through today, and I just thought I'd tell you guys about the books I read in April and let you guys know my thoughts. I thought April has gone really, really quickly, but actually looking at the first book I read this month, I feel like I read this book literally ages ago, but it is Breaking Point by Mads Rafferty. So this is the first book in this ice hockey romance series. There are 2 books. The second book came out recently as well, which I do really want to read. I was actually going to read it this month. Didn't end up happening because I had about a million other books to read. I'll definitely try to get to that in May. So this one follows Bella and Grayson. So it's more of like a fake dating romance, ice hockey romance as well. So Grayson's brother died in a car accident, and since then Grayson's really been struggling, especially with his image as well because he's going out drinking. So he ends up agreeing to this like PR relationship. Now Bella, her mother is really sick with cancer. She ends up agreeing to be Grayson's fake girlfriend, and it's kind of more of like a not boss employee type of situation, but Bella ends up becoming Grayson's assistant as well. So they thought, okay, people are going to believe this. So it kind of goes from there. So it's more like false proximity type of vibes, fake dating. I had a really good time with this book. I gave it a 3.75 star. I really like the depth in this book. Both Grayson and Bella had amazing depth. This book was emotional at times as well, and I really like the side characters. I just thought this was a very quick read. Then I read Restore Me by J.L. Sagers. Now I actually picked this book up because it seemed very like angsty and emotional, and I was kind of looking for that. So this one follows Sloane and Dominic. They had one interaction when they were younger. I think it's like first year in university. Now Dominic has been pining and yearning after Sloane for years, but then Sloane ends up getting into a relationship with Dominic's best friend Eric. 4 years ago Eric passed away in a car accident, and since then she hasn't been intimate with anyone. Now with Dominic, I said he's been yearning and wanting Sloane for years and years and years. Literally 12 years he's been yearning after her, but Sloane has always thought that Dominic has hated her. So it kind of turns into a bit of like a situationship between them because Sloane hasn't been intimate with someone and Dominic wants her. Like, he does want her. At the same time, she was literally married to his best friend for years, who was practically his brother as well, because Dominic was brought up in an abusive household with a alcoholic father. So Eric's family is his family, and then Sloane wants Dominic. She feels a pull towards him, but at the same time she's very close with Eric's family as well. So it is kind of more of a forbidden romance. I gave this one a 3.5 star. I enjoyed it. I really, really liked J.L. Sagers' writing style. My problem with this book, and this is why it wasn't a higher rating, was because it wasn't as much of a slow burn as I wanted it to be. I kind of went into this book because it's a thick, chunky book. It's literally near enough 600 pages. I thought there was going to be a lot of angst and a lot of tension, and it just didn't have that. Like, the characters kissed within like 150 pages. I'll definitely carry on with the series because this couple only has one book, but the second book is actually part of a trilogy. So I'm definitely going to go into those ones, and I feel like I'll really, really like that trilogy. I feel like that will give me more angst and tension because they have 3 books. Like, there must be a reason why they have 3 books. And then I read The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. What? A hoo-hoo? By Ivy Ophelia. Now this one is a dark gothic romance. It is the first book, I think, in a trilogy. So this one follows Alina and Silas. The book actually starts off with Silas trying to unalive someone because he's a vampire. So from there it kind of turns into like an enemies to lovers type of situation where both characters are trying to unalive the other. Silas is initially very like drawn to Alina and wants her. I'd definitely say with this book, do look up Trigger Warnings. It is a dark romance. I gave this book a 3.5 star. I liked the gothic setting. It's set in like the 1800s, so it's set in the Victorian era, and I liked that. I love gothic romances. Like, if you know me, anything that's gothic, dark academia, that type of vibe, I will read. So I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 star. I wasn't as connected to the romance as I wanted to be. I feel like at times the pacing seemed a little bit off. It does end up on a cliffhanger. The second book, I believe, is on Kindle right now. It only comes out in paperback in June. If you're a fan of dark romance, you just need something to get you out your book slump, and then I'd say like this might be the perfect read for you. Then we have my favourite book of the year so far, and it is Unbound by Peyton Corin. Now, I actually talked about this book in a YouTube vlog that I've literally just posted, which is reading 4 of my most anticipated reads. This book is the 3rd book in the Undone series. So you have Unsteady, Unloved, Unbound, and then you have Undone, which is coming out in October. I'd definitely say you can read these books out of order if you want to, because they are all interconnected standalones. But I'd say read them in order anyway, because they're all really, really good. So this one follows Bennett and Paloma. So Bennett is Reese's best friend in book 1, and Paloma, she's kind of seen as a bit more of like a mean girl, I would say, in the first couple of books, but you know that there's a lot more to her character. So this one is a sex transfer romance. Now, sex transfer romances are very hit and miss for me, because sometimes I read sex transfer romances and I'm like, you guys should have never got back together. Like, honestly, you're better apart. But with this one, you know that these characters are meant to be and they're soulmates. So they were together in first year of university after they bond over poetry. It's very just easy between them. Like, they both really want each other. They end up getting together and they have this quite traumatic breakup, and years later Ben is still obsessed with Paloma. Like, he'll do anything to be around her and he wants her back, but Paloma has her reasons why she feels like she can't go back to him. When you learn why they broke up, honestly, your heart breaks for Paloma. Like, this girl has been through so much. Again, with this series, look up trigger warnings. This was just such a healthy relationship dynamic. Reading this book, I was like, this is what romance is. Okay, I loved them. I love them together. Bennett was such a green flag. I say in my vlog like a million times that this man, like, he washes her hair, he cooks for her, he's just obsessed with her hair in general, and he will do anything for her. If you want just like a guy obsessed romance, pick this book up. Like, it is fully just guy obsessed, but Paloma's also like equally obsessed with Bennett as well. Like, it isn't one-sided, and I loved it. As you can probably tell with how much I talk about it. So I ended up giving it a 4.25 star. It didn't give me like 5-star feeling, but I still really enjoyed it. People are gonna be like, oh, why didn't you give it 5-star? I'm one of those people that says I don't give 5 stars out easily. I mean, I haven't given a 5-star in over 2.5 years, okay? I don't know why this book didn't give me a 5-star feeling. I still loved it so much. I said 4.25 star. I know a lot of people are going to be like, that's not even high rating. To me it is, okay? I loved it. I loved it. And yeah, I'd highly, highly, highly recommend it. I am very excited for the next book that's coming out in October as well. So that one's going to be Torrens Story, and I'm really excited for that one. That one's going to be Childhood Friends to Lovers, I think, and a bit of like a second chance. So I'm really excited for that one. When I film these videos, I don't realise until I'm editing how fast I'm talking. So I'm going to try to slow down a little bit, because I do talk really fast. And I didn't realise until like recently. So I'm going to try to talk a little bit slower. But the next book I read was Rights to Starling by Daphne Perry. So this is the second book in the, I don't even know what series it's called. I think it's called the Sheila Sparrows series, maybe. I don't know. So you have Sheila Sparrows, which is the first book that released last year, and then you have Rights to Starling. So it follows Odessa. Now, Odessa, she ends up being in a arranged marriage with this prince, but it ends up being a romance between her and Ransom, who is like the prince's guardian, if that makes any sense. So it's more of like a false proximity type of situation. That's all I'm going to say, because there are things that you find out in book 1 will give spoilers, I would say. So I'm not going to say any more. The first book's very adventure filled. Now with this one, it's a little bit different, because you get Odessa's point of view, but then you also get another character's point of view called Caspia. So you have like 2 different love stories in this one, and I really enjoyed that. I haven't read a fantasy where you have that. I know some people have said that they didn't really enjoy that, but I personally loved it. I mean, you find out who Caspia is and how everything's entwined. I did guess the plot twist like 150 pages before the end. Some people guessed it at the beginning, which that was never me. And I did actually cry with this book. I don't cry at fantasy romances, but like a tear went down my face when I was reading this book. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. I'm getting pins and needles in my foot as well. I'm sat on the floor. I'll definitely read the 3rd book when that one releases next March. I believe it is going to be a trilogy, so that one's going to be the final book. And then I read Pace of the Night by Jennifer Hartman. Now this one has been one of my most anticipated releases of the year. Now it's a rockstar romance. Rockstar romances are very hit and miss. I'm going to say that about like everything in this video, like very hit and miss for me. But with this one I was like, okay, it's Jennifer Hartman, it's going to have angst, it's going to have like the emotional factors to it as well. So this one follows Chase and Annalise. So their first interaction is actually a little bit weird. Like, I got to admit, the first like 20% of this book, I was thinking, what am I reading? Chase, he ran away from his home years ago, and he ends up trying to steal a can of dog food from this like garage or like petrol station, whatever you call it, and he ends up getting Yeah. He ends up hijacking Annalise's brother's car with Annalise literally in the backseat drunk. So she doesn't realise until like he's like driving off. It turns into a friends lovers type of situation. Now I said the first 20% I was thinking what is going on, because after he's being puke, he's like, don't take me to the hospital, and she's like, well you kind of need the hospital, but okay. I'm like, you're going to take him to the hospital. Even if he says no, you're taken to the hospital. I thought that was a little bit weird. I would say with this book, look up trigger warnings. Annalise is in a emotionally abusive relationship that turns physically abusive. So I'd say look up trigger warnings. It is, like I said, a rockstar romance because Annalise, Chase and Annalise's brother Tag, they end up starting a band together. So their love language is music and they kind of communicate through music. So I ended up giving this book a 3.5 star. As I said, I was thinking about DNFing this book, but I was reading it for a vlog, and I did enjoy it the more I read it. There is a plot twist somewhere in this book which I didn't anticipate as well, because with all John Hartman's books, we're going to have a plot twist. I did enjoy it. It does get emotional at times as well. I did like the romance. There was just something lacking. And then I read one of my other anticipated releases of the year, which was Release Me by Tara Maffey. So this is the second book in the spin-off to the Shatter Me series. I'd definitely say you have to read the Shatter Me series first. So this series follows Rosabelle and James. So James you get introduced to in the Shatter Me series. So this is actually set 10 years after the Shatter Me series ended. So the first book starts with James going to Ark Island, but he ends up in a prison cell instead. Rosabelle lives on Ark Island with her sister Clara, and she'll do anything to protect her sister, and it ends up being like a enemies to lovers situation between them, because they should be enemies, you know. Rosabelle and James should be enemies. Rosabelle is trying to like unalive James as well, and it kind of goes from there, but it's definitely very much like guy obsessed, guy falls first. Reverse Coming Sunshine as well. So like James, he is like fully obsessed with Rosabelle. One thing I would say is that his like point of view while he's all about Rosabelle is hilarious. And I gave this one a 3.5 star. What I would say is I do love being back in this universe with these characters. I love seeing Aaron and Julia again, okay? My parents, I love them. I love seeing the other characters like Kenji, Nazira, all of them. Like, it does feel like coming home. I have enjoyed the series, but I haven't loved it just because I feel like not a lot has happened in these books. It's quite repetitive. There's scenes that are repetitive, there's conversations that are repetitive, and it just hasn't given me a lot. The third book is coming out later on this year as well. I think it's like September, October time. So I will definitely read that because they're very fast paced, easy reads. Said they are YA, so they're very fast paced. But yeah, I just haven't loved the series as much as the Shatter Me series. But I feel like if I reread the Shatter Me series for the first time now at the age of 21, nearly 22, would I love that series as much? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I feel like I read it in like a perfect time. Then I went into Dissonance by Adeline Humphreys. Now I did go ahead and pick up this book because I've heard it has similarities to the Edge of Darkness trilogy. If you know me, you know that the Edge of Darkness trilogy is my favourite dark romance series of all time. Nothing will ever compare. So this one is a rockstar romance and it follows Jude and what's her name? Is it Emma? Yeah, so Jude and Emma. So they were together when they were teenagers, but then Jude is forced to break up with Emma because he thinks that he's getting this opportunity at being a professional musician and being in a band, but he's actually been like coerced and manipulated and blackmailed to be part of this very much like effed up organisation. So I would definitely say with the series, look up trigger warning. There is a lot of talk of addiction as well as other topics, so I'd say look up trigger warnings 100%. From there it turns into a second chance romance between Jude and Emma because Jude ends up going back to the small town that he used to live in and he ends up reconnecting with Emma. So Emma, she runs this like therapy art studio where you can do art while talking about your feelings. So Emma wants to save Jude because she knows that there's something happening which she does end up learning. So kind of goes from there. So it is the first book in a trilogy. The second book literally came out the other day, I believe. So I gave this one a 3.5 star. I would just say it didn't give me the Edge of Darkness trilogy. Like, it didn't give me the same emotion or the same connection that I had with that series. Then I read my second favourite book of the year, which was Happy Ending by Chloe Leese. Now this one is a new book release and I didn't actually go into this book with too many expectations. Chloe Leese, I've really enjoyed like all of her books. What have I done to this? Oh, it's like coming apart. I don't know if you can see that. It's actually getting warmer in the UK, and when I was reading this it was like 20 degrees outside and I was like, okay, it's warm. With UK weather you don't know how long this is going to last, so I'm going to pick up a summer read. So I picked this one up and I really enjoyed this book. So it's a friends to lovers romance, so it follows Tia and what's his name? Tia and Alex. So I literally finished the book the other day and I'm like, what are the characters' names? So you have a past and present timeline with this book. It starts off in like the past timeline from a couple of years ago where Tia ends up finding out that her husband that she's recently divorced, like they've literally been divorced like for a few weeks, is now dating someone else, and that someone else is Alex's ex-wife. They end up like pretending that they've known each other since they were younger as well, because they're like, okay, our exes are together, we kind of want to make them a little bit jealous. So they've said that they were friends growing up and that they were each other's first love, and they realise that they don't actually want to fake date each other because it's just going to be too much, which I did enjoy, because usually with these books it ends up being like a fake dating romance, but with this one it was just more of like a friends to lovers. And then in the present tense, their exes end up sending them an email like, we're going on a family vacation, you guys should join. Which, why would you invite your ex on a family vacation? Okay, why? I thought the relationship dynamic was really healthy. You have such a great slow burn with this book as well. Like, this is what I mean by slow burn and a build up. I really enjoyed the past and present chapters as well, and kind of seeing their friendship develop into something more as well. And yeah, it was just very cutesy. Honestly, if you want the perfect summer read, I'd highly recommend this one. And then I did finish off the month, even though I'm probably going to finish my current read before the end of the month finishes. But the last book I read was probably my least favourite book of the month, and it is The Other Brother by Tierney Page. Now this one wasn't a bad read. I didn't have any bad reads this month, which was good. So this one is an ex-fiance's brother trope. Now this is one of my favourite tropes. Forbidden, ex-fiance's brother, ex-boyfriend's father, ex-boyfriend's best friend, anything like that I will read. So April ends up finding out that her fiance is cheating on her. James is Lucas, so April's ex-fiance's younger brother, and Lucas and Ethan have never really had a relationship together. You kind of find out why, which I kind of guess what happened between them. James has always had an attraction towards April, and with April she's always had a bit of an attraction towards James, but she doesn't want to admit that. So it kind of just turns into like a bit of like a forbidden romance. It's also a musician romance as well, because James is in a band and he's got this audition coming up to go on tour with one of the biggest bands in the world, so you have the music element. So I give it a 3-star. What I would say is I love the female friendships that we got in this book, okay? April with her best friends were hilarious. Like, one of the best friends, Gemma, her like sexual stories was the funniest thing in this book. When it comes to the romance, I just didn't connect to it at all. It wasn't as forbidden as I wanted it to be. Like, it didn't give off a forbidden romance. It didn't give off ex-fiance's brother vibes. Before the characters got involved, they hardly had any interactions. Like, April had more interactions with her friends than she did with her love interest, or that's how it felt while reading. I will definitely read the second book because it's Gemma's story, and that one's going to be best friend's brother, and that one seems more forbidden. It's also where it plays an age gap. You best believe I'm going to eat that book up, and I definitely feel like I'm going to enjoy that one a lot more. But with this one, it was just like of a type of read. So those were all the books that I read in April. I really hope you did enjoy. I'm currently reading Fragile Hopes by Lucina Coney, which I'm going to try to finish before the month is over. So that means I would have got through 11 books this month, which is a lot. Like, that's like one every like just less than 3 days, I would say. So I got through a lot of books this month, and I said I had some really good reads, also had some type of reads as well. But yeah, I really did enjoy this video. Please make sure you like and subscribe as well for more bookish content like this, and I'll see you guys in a brand new video. Bye guys!